What is key to converting minor piece endgame advantages? Imagine holding a small but promising edge in a game of chess. Maybe you have an extra pawn or a more active bishop or knight. The question is, how do you turn that tiny advantage into a win? In minor piece endgames, this process can be tricky but rewarding. Converting these advantages depends on a few important factors. First, your king must become active. In the endgame, the king is no longer just a defender. It turns into a powerful piece that can support your pawns and block your opponents. Moving your king toward the center or to key squares helps you control the board and create threats. Next, activate your minor pieces. Knights and bishops should be placed where they control critical squares, support your passed pawns, and limit your opponent's options. For example, a bishop controlling a long diagonal can prevent the enemy king from approaching your passed pawn. A knight on a strong outpost can threaten enemy pawns or pieces. Pawn structure is also vital. Your goal is to create passed pawns that have no enemy pawns blocking their path to promotion. Passed pawns are your main weapon for winning in these endings. Look for weaknesses in your opponent's pawn structure, like isolated or doubled pawns, and target them. Improving your own pawn structure is just as important, making your pawns harder to attack or block. Patience and careful calculation are key. Rushing can lead to mistakes or missed chances. Always think through your moves, especially when considering exchanges. Trading pieces can simplify the position, but only if it benefits you. Sometimes keeping more pieces on the board creates more threats and chances to win. Be aware of how bishops and knights behave in different positions. Bishops tend to be stronger in open positions with pawns on both sides of the board. Knights excel in closed positions with blocked pawns. Opposite-colored bishops often lead to draws because each bishop controls different squares and can create blockades. If you have the same color bishops, you can try to create a passed pawn that your opponent's bishop cannot stop. Practical steps include centralizing your king and activating your minor pieces, creating and pushing passed pawns, and targeting weaknesses in your opponent's pawn structure. Always calculate carefully before exchanging pieces, because sometimes more pieces on the board mean more chances to create threats. Understanding the strengths and weaknesses of bishops versus knights in specific pawn structures helps you make better decisions. Keep an eye on your opponent's counterplay, like their own passed pawns or defensive resources. In the end, converting a minor piece advantage is about combining active king play, smart piece placement, careful pawn moves, and precise calculation. Practice these ideas, study typical positions, and you will find it easier to turn small edges into winning positions.